of season 2. We today, for Elliot and I as your hosts, we have our first guest of the season, whose name is Keaton Loyler, and Elliot can tell you a bit more about him.
So with this episode, we talking about editing, and my good friend Keaton here, I know from university for many years. He will help us explain how editing works in his life, in his work.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being a part of this one. Long time listener here. And yeah, editing is it's quite the journey. I personally first started back in high school when I was about 14 years old. When I was just taking a video class. It was graphics and video combined, and then yeah, and then just had such a passion for it that tried to take it to the next level and tried to keep growing my skills and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of one of those jobs or one of those skills that you can kind of take anywhere, and it can lead you to so many different places, big or small. But yeah, happy to help answer anything you guys want to know.
The first question is, what made you want to be an editor in the first place?
Good question. Good question. I think yeah, it was definitely the passion or just the feeling that you kind of got behind it when you first started. I'm sure everybody kind of has that that one little bit or that one little time you kind of never forget. How it made you feel and how fascinated you were by this certain thing. And for me, that was editing. And since then, it's been able to kind of branch off into like directing, producing, and stuff like that. But yeah, at heart, I'll still always love to create stories through editing and actually be able to take a concept or a vision and make it into what you see on screen. And yeah, I think all in all is kind of just the feeling and where I could see it taking me in the future.
Oh, it's interesting. Elliot has actually got a book that you may have seen in the first season, Keaton, about different aspects of doing a podcast. And we say that editing is one of them. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you guys know just as well as I do, especially with all of these. You have to actually take the great bits and, cut it down or like manipulate it to what you
Yeah.
really want it to be. And Elliot, I know you've been telling me about how long it can truly take. And I think that's one misconception about the industry too, is that people think it's so quick. You just, press the edit button and it's all done, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's a skill for sure.
Yeah, it's not true to just say, oh, well, it's a quickie fix button and that's it. You have to actually do the process of like, cut split pieces and out or something like that, like Elliot and I do weekly. So we just say like, we just get rid of some parts that don't exist, that don't work for us and stuff like that. So we spend a couple hours on that, but not too much to take up a whole day.
I remember back in our university days, Keaton, that editors who very passionate editors like to sleep over at the campus and do their work.
You are very right. I was one of those people as well, because in school it was such an intensive program that yeah, to hit the deadlines and things start piling up, and obviously the university workload is busy as is. Yeah, with those looming deadlines that you need to hit in school, and you also need to hit in the workforce and in the real world afterwards. You have to pull those long nights. So I'm still pulling all-nighters to get edits done currently. And school was kind of one of those places where if you didn't realize how long things take, that's when you realize that you should bring a sleeping bag in your backpack and possibly possibly plan to sleep in the lab or elsewhere. I know that the school and the teachers did not like that, but when the security guard would come around, he would almost just give us like a nod of approval and just be like, just be safe. And yeah, and we would usually just either stay up and edit or nap in between scenes and then start the next scene after we get a power nap in. But yeah, it's quite the long hours you can put in.
Well, that sounds very exhausting.
It definitely can be, but I do know some people who are very good with their time management, and they they work 9 to 5 every day. They clock in and clock out, and they get what they need to done. So I think it does come back to how you plan your time too. So yeah, kind of all jokes aside, I do think that some people thrive in that they thrive on pressure, but some people are very
I wonder what you were actually doing during the time that we were in lockdown with the whole COVID in the first place. Like if you were doing much editing or what?
Yeah, no, good question. Yeah, similar to everybody else, that really shook up myself and just the entire industry. And I actually, I first actually did a passion project. I usually don't have time for passion projects, but at that time, everything was slowing down so much that I wanted, to express myself and, a vision like creatively. So I actually ended up doing a little very, very short kind of doc video about the healthcare workers and the frontline workers and what they were going through and the community support behind them. So every night, as when I was supposed to be studying for exams, because I was still in school, I was just finishing up, I would go out with one of my friends and film the community support at 7 p.m. when everybody would cheer for the healthcare workers, and that was that was the first kind of bit. And then once the industry started kind of picking up, and once things started becoming normal-ish, then everything kind of came back, because editing is one of the things that you can work from home. You can be in lockdown and still deliver projects and get raw files, and everything could be done at a slower rate, but through the internet pipeline. So it was definitely adaptation, but looking back, I think the entire industry tackled it as it came pretty well.
Yeah, everyone tried to tackle it well, but Elliott originally thought of this podcast stuff because he's getting so bored with the lockdown, not being able to go outside very much.
Absolutely. And there's so many creative things that I think came out of it. As bad as it was, and definitely wish that it never happened. I do think people's minds really got to do what they always wanted to do, and the podcast industry too. It's been booming. So you guys are in a really good place.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I did my documentary, I had 2 editors. One for the trailer, one for the final product, and that was Keaton, who helped me with the editing of the documentary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you were telling me a little bit about that, but not the full story of who the people were. Huh.
Yeah, so Keaton is a ace at editing. Me, I'm not an ace. I'm just like,
I know you often say that in podcast episodes because you can't stress enough how we aren't skilled people at it.
and recently he edited my music video.
Oh wow, yeah.
When I make more projects, would you like to edit them again?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love working with you, and yeah, I think you're a fantastic director. And yeah, I'm always happy to help if you need anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ellie came to a screening for a documentary I was doing with a mentor from Emily Carr, and it was called Rider, and it was the writer was me, but I was talking about in terms of third person or someone like that, to kind of give people an idea of what it's like to be an intellectually challenged person riding a horse for therapy, and also recounting memories from past, future, and like present, and how like we get limited community services, if I'm correct, Elliot.
Yeah.
Correct. Community services for people with intellectual challenges. And this podcast is supposed to be about inclusion. So,
Wow,
and not many people are included in terms of understanding that invisible disabilities are there. It's just people want to dismiss it and like not acknowledge skills we have for work or social life and whatever else. They want to just focus on the physical disabilities, which Elliot and I think is somewhat unfair.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely unfair for sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. That sounds like an incredible project. Yeah, no, I love stories like that because you don't hear of them as much as you should, right? Like there needs
Yeah.
to be more, like there needs to be more talk about it for sure, and especially in that light, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same thing in the film industry, right? You don't hear that many display actors or film directors or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we're slowly stepping in the right direction, but you're so right. It's not talked about as much as it should be, and that's why I love what you guys are doing is because there needs to be more conversation about it. And I think it's not going to happen overnight. Obviously, we all know that, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it's definitely baby steps in the right direction. And year over year, I think it's just going to keep getting more awareness around it and more honesty that there's no difference, right? Everybody is skilled and capable, right? And it's
Yeah.
like yeah, it's definitely a good conversation that I think is slowly being more and more talked about.
Yeah, but even if a person says it's slow and good that's happening, it's still not, as you said, Keaton, not fully 100% enough, because like
Mhm.
not all ordinary people will understand us unless because they want to label us as statistics
Mhm.
type of group of people.
Yeah.
And Elliot and I don't particularly like that. Neither do our uh, other people we know
Mm-hmm.
from other theater groups as well that
Mm-hmm.
we've been to. Like, what is it, Elliot? New World Theater, isn't it?
Yeah, New World Theater and Stage Door.
Yeah.
Basically, they both theater groups, but they different groups of people. New World Theater is a mix of people with disabilities and people with non-disabilities.
And that's the part we're trying to focus on with with this podcast and in general social life, because we can't just be all in one segregated intellectually challenged group and then another group separately as ordinary people with no challenges, problems.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's so amazing. I love what you guys are doing.
Okay, I'm glad you really enjoy it. We have
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
episodes from our first season that you can check out too.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, I've been listening to to quite a few. It's super great. And this is just another season in the bucket. So
Mm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what's the most memorable episode you watched or hear?
ooh, I like the one where you interviewed Gary.
Oh yeah, the last
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. No, it was really good. Yeah, and I find yeah, like all the creative ones really resonate, like to me, of course, because obviously being like a fellow creative in the industry, it's really nice to hear other people's takes and like especially your own as well. And yeah, no, I think that there's so much potential in the podcast industry moving forward because it's people can listen to them driving to work as as things start to open up. now. And then, even like I would listen to like a lot of different podcasts on like transit going to school when they were kind of first coming out. And then yeah, even just like, relaxing on like the weekend or something.
Yeah, we're always trying to do this thing on a Saturday, like before lunch, so that people don't get bored and make it last but like 40 minutes or less.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good timing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have it as video and audio, so people have
Mhm.
options of what to listen to by depending on what they're doing.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's great. I think yeah, like the more platforms you can get things on is so good. Yeah, 'cause I mean, I know some people who they only use their YouTube app on their phone and they never use their podcast app. So it's definitely catering to different markets and activities, as you said, Miranda. That's perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When I first I remember when I first met you, I was looking for a person to help me with editing who can tutor me with editing. Same as Josh and Gavin, because editing is not in my skill set.
As you
Yeah.
often say, Elliot, not new.
But it's great that you have the network of people too. And I think that was a great thing with school as well, that like on top of what you learned skill wise in school or even just built upon, the connections that all of us made were so great. So, it's great that you're able to keep those connections post graduation
Mhm.
and be able to say, I want to do this project, like cam op, cinematographer, editor, special effects, like these people and you're slowly
Mhm.
building on them.
Yeah.
It's never going to be the end of meeting people and growing and networking. And I think especially with your personality,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just like it just comes naturally, right? To just talk to people and to pick their brain and to ask for help, and that's huge. That's great.
Yeah. It was weird actually when I went to school as the only disability guy in class because there was hardly no other people with disabilities in the class.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And your year was very unique too because yeah, there were so many walks of life and so many different projects. I remember seeing some of your projects and that they were fantastic.
How about your company, Keaton?
Yes. How is it or?
Yeah, how is it? Is it flowing well or
Yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah, so I just for a bit of background, I started a well, I've always kind of been pretty much just like freelancing and working on contract for different companies and shows and stuff like that throughout high school and university. And then once I graduated, through a bunch of turn of events, ended up actually incorporating a company and kind of taking it to the next level and actually having a brand name behind it, which was called Edgestone Media. And essentially, we focus on telling positive social impact stories for brands, organizations, individuals, and essentially anything that has a positive story to tell. We try to niche down and showcase that. So we've been doing lots of commercials and branded content, basically just telling stories of how companies are giving back in COVID, or we're just doing one on the floods in Abbotsford. And then yeah, like the Red Cross is a big one for us. Canadian Cancer Society, Canadian Blood Services, a lot of those nonprofits and charities that love to make a positive social impact in the world, and they all have stories to tell. So whether those are donor stories, recipient stories, there's essentially there's a story for everything, and we've been trying to capture that, and tell those various unlimited amounts of stories. So it's been going well though, slowly but surely growing, and yeah, every new project is a new world of knowledge for me. So it's been great.
that's good.
Mhm.
Elliot and I were trying to have a couple other people on to host with us
Mhm.
our podcast, but then we decided, okay, it'll just be the two of us instead. Right, Elliot?
Yeah, because we have so many different types of personalities trying to mix together, and those personalities cannot always work together that well.
Totally hear you. Yeah, sometimes there's too many cooks in the kitchen, but sometimes like the perfect amount. Yeah, I feel like you guys match pretty well, and how you're both so committed to it.
Yeah.
Just from what I've seen, seems so great.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a Christmas special and a New Year special.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Elliot's gonna wear a what? Hat?
a Christmas hat.
Good
Yeah.
touch, good touch. Are you gonna decorate the rooms behind you guys, or?
Well,
I'll
for one of
try. We're also gonna have a big anniversary episode too.
Nice.
Hmm
What are you planning for that?
I don't know yet.
a little bit of improv talent maybe to show our skills.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been 2 years.
That's incredible. Time flies, hey? Has it gone fast for you guys, do you think?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, it's like 17 episodes in 2 years.
Yeah, it's very wild to think, yeah, that like we're coming to the end of 2021, which is very like it seems like it just started.
And then into 2022.
Yeah, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It's like it's the numbers are increasing way too fast.
And have you told your friends about the show?
I have, yes. No, I've told a few, and yeah, no, the feedback that I've gotten from the ones that have told me, they love it. They love what you're bringing to the table, and they just think there should be so many more voices just like yours, like across the country, right? That just like are just speaking just such positive messages and yeah, just keeping on doing what you're doing. So yeah, no, the feedback's been great from what I've heard.
So anything else, Elliot? Or
Not on my plate, but how about you, Keaton? Do you have anything to ask us?
Yeah. Ooh. I'm gonna flip the podcast table onto you guys.
okay.
um, what has your favorite episode been that you've done? It doesn't
I
have to
don't know if
be
this was-
like in like agreements with each other. It can be like, Elliot likes one and Miranda likes the other, but I'm just curious.
I think it was
Well-
the one with Miranda, and me, and Michelle.
One of my favorite episodes was the one that has the title "A guest comes in with tea and water."
Oh, that
Yet
one,
Elliot was
yeah.
the only one that drank bit of water.
I'm the
Everyone
only
else
one
had
who
tea.
drank tea.
That's awesome.
I like the title was my favorite part of the whole show. That's why I like it.
Yeah, we try and come up with creative titles for each season.
That's awesome, and that's how that's how you keep people interested too, because if it's titled the same every time, it's just gonna be the same.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. And
Okay. Yeah.
and Miranda, what's going on in your life?
Multiple things. I'm
Yeah.
volunteering on Mondays at a place called Volunteer Nanaimo, because I live in Nanaimo, and that's the title of the place. And I do things like photocopying, I don't know, but probably scanning, yeah. And I've done brochure, pamphlet, folding things and stuff like that. And besides that, I've also just started last week Special Olympics track and field. That's an organization year round for people who are with intellectual challenges or not that are interested in joining. So we're not charging right now because of this whole COVID thing. They want to not charge us fees, the ones that are trying to register. So we have many sports, and track just started again, and we have some winter competitions soon for the winter sports, and the summer ones will be more like spring, like April or something.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of regional qualifying competitions happening in 2022.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's incredible. I'm glad to hear both of you are up to so many amazing things. That's awesome.
It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you both so much. I'm super honored to be on, and hope I was able to to
Yeah.
answer all of your questions.
And we will see you all next Saturday.
Watching.
Thank you, Keaton, for showing up today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
Take
Right.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.